Hey guys, welcome back. Try to keep it low though, we're staying off the radar. We just got done with a smuggling operation. There's a little hitch at the very end, so hopefully the cops didn't pick up our signature and trail us here. But don't worry, we're going to be giving you all the details. I'm going to show you exactly how we did it, all the tips and tricks of how to stay clean, so that you can start the new year right and be rolling in the money next year. Alright guys, stay tuned. Now, when it comes to long-range smuggling, your fit is the majority of the work that you need to do. It's going to take a large investment, especially if you're going to go with an Asp Explorer. But right here we have a chaff and 2 shield boosters. You can add another shield booster, but that of course comes at the cost of your overall jump range. Now, the reason I have a chaff is not to delay any scans. That is actually something that doesn't seem grounded in any factual evidence that I've been able to find, that anybody else has been able to find. And so chaff is actually mainly for those people that want to do this in open. If you primarily operate in open, this is going to be useful just in case somebody finds you, a player perhaps finds you and wants to aggress, so that it gives you a little bit of an extra get out of jail, not free card, but a little bit of a delay, just in case they do have gimbaled weapons. Shield boosters, even though we have a very weak shield, a little bit more strength, never going to hurt you. And we have 1 beam laser, which is for the express purpose of actually getting rid of scans. The real way to get rid of a scan, at least with NPCs, not going to really work with players of course, is that when they start to scan you, you target them with the nearest target button, whatever you have mapped to that, and then deploy your hard points. This is going to force them to deploy their hard points, and that stops the scan altogether. While you're doing this, you need to be boosting the entire time so that you're getting as far away from them as you possibly can, just in case they outweigh you, but also so that they do not start aggressing onto you and popping the small shields that you do have, just until your FSD cooldown code is finished. At that point you can jump into normal space or jump preferably to the next system. Of course, your internals are where everything counts the most. You want to A-rate everything, except for perhaps life support and sensors, which you can just leave at Delta level, which mainly is just for the weight consideration. Then you of course want to upgrade your fuel tank. Your standard will probably end up being a 16, so upgrade that to a 32. Add a cargo rack of 64 to your 6 slot here, and then with the class 5, put another fuel tank on. You need as much fuel as you can without pushing it too far to murder your tonnage or your laden weight. Now, this is for the express purpose of getting from point A to point B as quickly as possible without having to stop and scoop. Yes, we do have a scoop, but that's more for emergencies than it is anything else. You don't want to scoop from Robigo to your first stop, because you're going to have NPCs that are constantly wanting to interdict and scan you, and being stuck in the gravity well of a star is a very bad place to be when they want to be interdicting you. If you do have to fuel scoop, please point your thrusters to the star. This forces them to try to get behind you, and this drops them out of super cruise. Now, with the remaining slots that you do have, you want another fuel tank, because this will be just enough in an Asp Explorer to get you from point A to point B. You can, of course, drop the shield generator and add another fuel tank of 8 if you want a little bit more buffer, and if you don't mind losing a shield generator, you can also add just another rack of cargo to that if you so desire. Now, I have, of course, the last 2 slots here as cargo, just because I like to have that extra 72 instead of just going with the stock 64 tonnage. This will hopefully, if I am picky enough with my missions, get me at least 72 million in one run. That is phenomenal. Now, you can of course fit an Asp Explorer without shields and with a scoop up to, I believe, 120 tons. That has a lot of risk to it, so I fully suggest not doing that. But if you are extremely confident in your abilities and have the time to devote to fuel scooping and dodging NPCs and the like, go for it. A lot of this is purely up to preference. You can completely fill your weapon loadout if you want to fight your way through. You can completely change your internals if you just want to go with the 64 cargo rack, or if you want to go up to the 120. Fit it to your liking and to your playstyle. Whatever your best smuggling run is going to be, that's completely up to you. And of course, last but not least, the sleek Black Friday paint job that we got with the Horizons update. Now, of course, that is just for looking cool. The black smuggling ship trying to glide through the stars unnoticed. But there you have it. Your fit is very, very important, so make sure that you're not risking a whole lot if you're testing a fit. This is what works for me. Hopefully it is what works for you. So let's go and have some fun. Bit of a challenge, bit of a smuggle. Never forget to refuel, repair, all that good stuff. We're finally here in Rubigo. We're going to take a look at the bulletin board, see if there's anything halfway decent. What is this? Too much tonnage. Or is this a little more along the lines of what we're looking for? But let's take a look at the galaxy map first. See where it is in particular. Alright, so that's about what I was expecting. Unfortunately, because it's it's a surface mission, I'm not really too sure about that. I'll play around a little bit more with that later, but for now, for the purposes of really demonstrating stuff for you, I'm just going to take a look at all the other stuff for you. There are a lot more missions that are available, but that's only if you're a higher trader rank, or if you're a little bit more in cahoots with the Rubigo cartel. But we're going to have to skip through open, closed, and group play to find this. Oh yeah. The missions that you need, you might have to bounce around a little bit and recycle the mission list on your billboard to make sure that you can find everything in a reasonable amount of time. Looks like we got some good stuff. Now these are the missions you really want. Awesome. Alright. Let's take a look at the galaxy map once again. It's very good to try to plot it out. Perfect. Especially if you can get a lot of missions in the same system. Go ahead and take that. Loving it. Take a look. Perhaps. Let's see this one again. Not too bad. Let's take a look at our cargo real quick, see how full we are. Not too bad. We're still got a little ways to go. Anyways, I'm going to fill myself up here, and we'll get along with a few tips and tricks that you should probably know about as we take our route back to known space. And our very first tip is actually before you even get going. Always, always, always plot your next jump before you undock. This is going to lead to far less mishaps happening, and this also gives you a good idea of where you need to go. Part of that also means that when you're plotting your next route, find the mission that goes with it and make sure you know which station that you're going to. That's also very important. You don't want to be fiddling around with that once you jump into the system, just in case people are chasing you and you end up getting interdicted. Tip number 2 is going to be relevant almost immediately. Every time you jump into a new system, take a look at the contacts, and as you can see, we've got a couple of system authority moping about. Now you want to keep them in front of you as much as you possibly can. This forces them to try to get behind you while you're charging up your FSD, and yes, right now we are kind of close to the sun and we're taking some heat damage, but that is far worthwhile doing if it means you're going to make a clean escape, just like that. Next up, we have the submission process. Now here I'm being interdicted by the cops, and instead of fighting an interdiction or trying to get all tricksy with them, I'm actually submitting so that I can immediately boost away, and I've also pulled out my weapon and hopefully we won't get a scan here. Forces him to deploy his hard points. Here we go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, there we go. And away we go. Now, as something of an addendum to that tip, there are situations like this where you're in the middle of charging and you get interdicted anyways. Now, you might get lucky and line up your next destination through the interdiction and you actually break that interdiction by jumping to the next system, but if not, it's well worth fighting the interdiction because the time it would take to submit and then charge back up and the risk that it would be to have that possible scan is not worth it in my opinion. So just break that interdiction, turn to your next system, and there you go. Tip 4 is going to be the one that separates new smugglers from the vets. As you can see, I'm coming in with the planet underneath me, and that's specifically so that I have the thrusters of my ship pointed to the planet when I drop out of Super Cruise. What this in effect is going to do is going to allow me to immediately be dropped right in front of the docking slip. So with the toaster oven immediately in front of me, I can make my entrance and my exit extremely smooth, and I'm not going to have to go around a station potentially becoming a scanning target. And here's an example of why I personally have a shield. I can forcefully abuse my ship to give me a very abrupt stop, and that allows me to not look too pretty as I get my way into the docking port, but it's effective. I didn't get scanned. Once again, do not forget to refuel and repair all that good stuff. Check the bulletin board, hand in your mission. Once it loads, there we go. That's a nice chunk of profit. And of course, never forget to plot your next route.
Docking request granted. Landing gear deployed. Successful. Engines disengaged.
Oh, no, 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 no! Oh, I was so close. Coming out of Coriolis, you have to be very careful. I ended up getting scanned, and you could probably combat log, but so frustrating. I just lost, well, I only lost 4 of them. I did get through the majority of the missions that I was given, so thankfully I've gotten some money, but I have to go sell off the slaves that are now only worth so very little. So there you have it, folks. Despite the failure there at the end with getting scanned on our way out, that's all right. We still made a cool 26 million. Probably only would have made probably another 4. I'm not really sure. I don't remember what was left on those missions. Maybe it would have pushed us a bit past 60. But for their first run to show you guys, it's pretty good. That did only get us 26 million, but I just wanted to do kind of a small run to show you guys how to do it and kind of the dangers, some tips and tricks, that kind of a thing. And that only cost us about 2 hours of our time, so I'd say 13 mil per hour, not a bad deal. And you can make that even higher. The more risk you take, the more danger and more of a challenge it is, but in the end, I just love seeing that bank account shoot straight up. And there's plenty of people that have become billionaires doing this. And don't forget that as you do it more, you're going to have your trade rank increase, and that's going to allow you higher paying jobs, in Robigo. I also believe Expayer might be another place to do kind of short-range hauling with the same kind of payouts. So it doesn't matter where you're going, but you're going to get trade rank, you're going to get money, you're going to get fun. And honestly, that is what it's all about. I can definitely enjoy this far more than doing a trade route over and over and over again with small increments. But anyways, I hope that was helpful for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that and you learned a little bit. Even if you don't go about doing this, at least you know that this is in the game, that there's that much more detail and depth to the universe that you can take advantage of should you choose at a later time. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one, so fly safe, make lots of money, and have a good time. Cheers.
Yeah, you all wanna be round a champion, a champion. I got tons of soul on my true collectible. Famous, also famous, #1 desirable. I do what I want when I want and how I want it. Leave you with the one in, yeah, that's how I roll. I got change to throw, I don't care.